Hi guys, it's me, Katrina, today, and I'm here to talk about the system that I developed with the tracer routes and the IP addresses and all that stuff. I've expanded it, and I have blown the lid off everything. Crazy, 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 just from my own account and my own perpetrators, and I've been going through this since at least 2010 is when they ran the first terror campaign. And it's been a terror campaign every single year around the same time. The past 2 years, the terror campaign has not started. It's been, no, I would say starting April of 2015. It began where it was every single day, like every day. No, like not even kidding, in the most horrific shit. So I've been trying to get out of this and trying to figure out who did what, and between the head injuries and the electroshocks and the beatings and the sexual assaults and the isolation and everything that I've been through, this is not the way that I want to live my life. This is not acceptable. It's not fair. It's not fair for any of us. So I've just, basically it's only been me and God, the past, since then. So anyway, let me quit rambling and get into what I have to talk about. Okay, so I did a video before about tracer routes, getting in your tracer routes and paying attention to, basically, who's watching you, because you can find out, oh, we're getting the airplanes already. I'm getting fried as we speak. As you can see, the red eyes, the glassy eyes, yeah, so he's gearing up. Maybe we'll have an appearance from some, CIA airplane. And for the record, it is 7:41 p.m. here, so in Florida. So anyway, so I'm already having a little bit of a hard time getting my thoughts together because I'm being radiated. Because they know this is a doozy. So anyway, so I basically was able to very distinctly identify all of my perpetrators. And what I had done is I had run tracer routes on my Facebook page and on my IP address here at the house. And what's really interesting is that I was able to, from the Facebook, I go on Monitis, and I'll leave a link below, and it has a US, Europe, and Pacific and Asia tabs that you can basically see who's running everything out. So what I did, I went in there and I put my my IP address up in there, and from there I wrote down all of the tracer routes for the US and the IPs for Europe and then for Asia. So from there I had gone in, and basically this all started, I know that there's other women that have been targeted by the same group of people, and a lot of them had gotten their children taken away. I never had children, but they've been doing the discrediting on me. So basically when I did have a child, they can just take her away immediately and start over with her. I have proof of all of this. I had found, before I was running the tracer route, and I was just running the IP and IPlocation.net, and then I was getting the coordinates, seeing where it went to. But now it's been expanded. I found out that basically you can go on Monitis and put in the website of someone that you know is a perpetrator. I did CIA, NSA, FBI. I tried all the basics first just to see, like just messing around with it. I tried ChildLink, which is the adoption agency out of Chicago that I found out was basically on all of my tracer routes going back 3 years, as far as I can tell. I don't remember any of my IPs from before, but I noticed that it kept, the coordinates kept going back to an adoption agency on Cermak in Chicago. And there had been talk for years from men who would call talking about how they wanted a daughter from me. And my nephew, who was like three or so at the time, said, Auntie T, you're going to have a baby, right? And I'm like, no, I'm not. And this is when I was knee deep in the middle of it, them ransacking my house and doing the full campaign. I was trying to buy the house in Maine at that point, so there was no baby, no boyfriend, no nothing, He had heard from some people, so I can imagine, it was people close to me talking freely in front of children about me having a baby. He spilled that one. My biological mother, who had passed in June of 2015, mentioned something about how you're going to feel when they steal your baby from you. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to feel anything because I'm not having a damn baby. I am 40 years old. I'm child free. I never had any desire to have children. I've been a stepmother, and I'm a great stepmother. But as far as, there was always an inner guide inside me that said not to have kids. And now I understand where that was coming from. So the desire has never really been there. It's, I'm happy not having kids. So anyway, so ChildLink came up. So what I had done is I had looked up ChildLink and got their IP. I ran a traceroute on them. Well, I found them on my Facebook in 1, 2, 3 different places. 3 of the IPs linked up to them. I found a whole bunch of stuff, basically. Let me actually go over what I found. Okay, I have the paper right here, all the notes. So on one of the tracer routes, the Archdiocese of Milwaukee, the NSA, the IRS, the Danforth Main Library, the Art Museum in Iceland that keeps coming up on my Facebook quizzes. I keep getting this art museum in Iceland as, where my true love is and all this stuff. So it means that they're hooked up to the server. So I went in and I looked at their tracer route and found out that they're connected. The Rosicrucians, my biological mother had told me when this all began, maybe it's the Rosicrucians doing this to you. And she used to be pretty helpful with information, tidbits of information. She wouldn't tell me anything outright, but she would basically just give me a little bit because she knew that I would go from there and find out. She didn't have to tell me much. She was really good at playing dumb, which was fine. So basically I found that. The second place that I stayed in Maine is also on one of the routes. So then I had another one. Oh, and then also the first route that I had gone that I had checked. I have several that had clusters. A police department that a family member of mine is affiliated with, who he refused to help me with anything or answer questions or speak to me during this, and now it makes sense why. Then there was another one, and Danforth Library again, Rosicrucians again, Our Lady of the Ridge, which is a Catholic church in Chicago Ridge, the Kenosha Church of Christ, where another family member is. Oh, they're hitting my heart. Oh, shit. Okay. I'm going to keep talking. Kenosha Church of Christ, where there were other people who I knew were guilty, are affiliated out of, and also Marina Abramovic. because I had different factions of people that were involved in this, and I had the New York art scene and the New York kind of avant-garde celebrities. I had the Hollywood people. I had the Garbage Pail Crew. I had police officers and American Legions, motorcycle clubs that were part of like the American Legion or, law enforcement. I had them. I had a lot of different groups of people over the years that came in. I had the super soldiers. I had, God, so many. And I didn't understand. And they were always trying to get me to travel to meet them, do interviews, things like that. I didn't know what the hell I was talking about back then. But what they were trying to do was control the narrative then when I didn't know what was going on and focus it on aliens and my labs and, to cover up what was really going on, which was basically just sex slavery under the guise of being my lab. Now I know that I was used in basically everything, but what they were trying to do was cover up how they were exploiting me, but at the same time degrading my name, and I wasn't aware of it. Because someone like me, and what's interesting too is that Melanie Vershawn, her case with the baby, how they took the baby immediately from the mother, Karen Stewart had mentioned something about implanting the baby in the brain before the fontanelles come together. Well, my mother had told me a couple years ago, she's dead now, but that there was a chip put in my brain. And now, is when Karen had mentioned that she was concerned about them maybe doing that in the soft part of the head, they had me for 30 days. I was away from my mother. Birth certificate is forged. Everything is forged. And I'm thinking, if my mom told me they did this to me as a baby, I think Karen might be right about, it makes complete sense about how they would do it, because what I have is the RHIC-EDOM. So I can imagine that might possibly be doing, they might be doing the same thing to the mother, or, to the baby, taking her from the mother. They're extra ruthless these days about it. They're not even trying to cover it anymore. So my mom was a drug addict, so it was easy to remove me from her care. She went out, she took the bait, and she did drugs. So, she was just a drug addict, and then there was even weirdness on the birth certificate about, there were like number codes, and it said to refer to the physician's manual. Well, the physician's manual has all of the medical codes in it. And the medical codes had lined up with a premature birth and also an amniotic sac infection. And it's something else, I can't remember what, but I don't know. But there were numbers written on the side in the ledger part. And that was my copy. So I don't know. Nobody will answer any questions. Nobody will acknowledge anything is weird. You guys have seen the birth certificate. It's an obvious forgery. They even went in and changed my DNA. I did a 23andMe report because it had gotten so weird. I had people calling me a Jew, making references that I was some kind of a Jew. I'm not Jewish, so I took a 23andMe DNA test, and I had 40% Scandinavian, I had 40% Iberian, 10% Nigerian, and 10% Native American. Now, my father's is a Borgia. He's Spanish, and his mother's from Puerto Rico. Father is a Borgia, like my grandfather. So his DNA markers were there, but my mom's DNA markers were not there. My mom, we're Italian and Swedish, and my grandfather was from Sweden. But I had no Italian. I had none of the other markers of my grandmother. I had people telling me that maybe your family's not your family, So then what they did, they went in and changed my DNA report, and you can even see API 23andMe, which means that somebody went in, a developer went in and changed the whole thing. Now, a DNA report is not something that you go in and look at all the time, so I didn't find out that they changed everything until much later on when I had gone in to print up a copy. And then it was like physically impossible to only be like, I think it was like 15% Iberian. Well, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. So what they had done is they had gone in and made it look like I was a gypsy. I don't know. The whole thing is very weird. But they went in and they're trying to cover up that 40% pure Scandinavian. It was just straight Scandinavian, nothing else. There was no English, no Irish, nothing, no Finnish, nothing. It was just Scandinavian. So anyway, it's just been it's been crazy. So okay, so we'll keep going. So the Kenosha Church of Christ has a connection to a relative and to my ex. And then there was another one with Social Security, NSA, ChildLink, the Adoption Agency, Cook County Sheriff's, Arrow Ridge Estates, where I lived when everything happened, the CIA. Another one clustered and linked to the CIA, the NSA, Social Security again, ChildLink, Cook County Sheriff again, Bethany of Wapaka, and the Presque Isle Police Department. Now, Bethany of Wapaka, back in December of 2009, somehow I had an address at this assisted living home. I didn't know about it. I had just moved in with my boyfriend in Kenosha. This assisted living home is like way, way far up mid-Wisconsin. We were in southeastern Wisconsin. And I don't know what that was all about. I still don't know, but they're also watching my, they're part of clusters that have been watching, all my activity. So, and these are all being run out of Amazon. And what they are is, I found out that Amazon is running the CIA operative business front, gang stalking network. And if it starts with 52 or 54, it's part of the Amazon network. So, and then there was another one that I have here, and had Arrow Ridge again. It had Bethany of Wapaka, Mars Meyer, the Jewish agents, the female Jewish MyLab, who went crazy on me back in 2013, and the CIA, once again. So everything is kind of coming back to CIA clusters, or like CIA churches, CIA operatives. There was a lot more. These are just the ones that had the clusters. But I was able to also find Danforth, Maine on several of these IPs. And Danforth, Maine is basically where they fucking ravaged me every day. And now they're trying to hide it. They're doing everything they can to try to hide it. But you guys saw the videos. You saw everything. They were I woke up with concussions. Everything. And the fact that Presque Isle, which is the major town further up, the police department up there, there was supposed to be some kind of a plan, I guess, with this Amazon gang stalking network. The plan is to isolate the person and then beat the shit out of them to, like, incoherence, give a head injury. What they were trying to do is damage my brain, and keep the body intact so the baby could be made, and there's nothing I could do. they're basically trying to damage my brain. So I can't function. I have no consent. I heard a lot of different things. This has kind of changed as we've gone along, as the plan has gone. And I would find other things out, but I had heard that the plan was to give me dementia or Alzheimer's and have me, bear this child and then sell me off, while I have a head injury. So, yeah, it's great. Because it's a body, I had family members also that I had suspected anyway of being on here. And I was also able to look at other people, other women that I knew had been targeted in the same way. And I looked up their websites to see if there was any cross-references. And yes, some of them were being targeted also by the CIA and by ChildLink. So CPS is actually targeting the women even after they've taken their children to make sure that they don't get the kids back and to make sure that she never gets back in society. It's sick. It's sick. I haven't told those women yet, that I looked up their information and I found it. But this is a system that I'm testing out. So I wanted to make sure that, that I was right. I went back even to my old, I guess you can also go in and take your old email accounts and get the IP address off of it. So I did. And boom, Amazon came up again. So I wasn't crazy when all this began. I was being targeted for homelessness. They set everything up in my computer system starting September of 2014. And I had bought my house in August of 2014. So they had gone in right after we finished remodeling and set me up. And within 3 months, they had gone in and started stealing from my business, redirecting everything. I had no idea that half the shit that they did could even be done. But now I'm realizing that this was the CIA and the NSA. I am a high-level MK Ultra subject. Much like the Stranger Things, I'm a psychic like no other, which is where I get led to a lot of this information. I get guidance. I'm also wondering now if it's even psychic ability or if it's been V2K my whole life. But I'll tell you what, whoever's on the other end of the V2K, I don't get a lot of the nasty derogatory names or anything. I get helpful information. So it's quite possible that white hats within the government are maybe sending me helpful information. I don't know, but I don't get the terrorizing language. So I don't know. I don't know what it is, but yeah. So basically, everyone who had perpetrated, I found all of them. Cook County Sheriff were on there too. The Archdiocese of Milwaukee has direct connection to some of the people who I believed were involved in this. And they were on several of the IPs and the cross-references. The trailer park that I lived in, where they moved in, the new manager, and set up all the security and basically everything, and had the entire trailer park terrorize me. And then they were running also the, selling me and ruining my names with the dirty cops. Why would these people still be fucking watching me if they didn't perpetrate on me? Why? I moved out of Danforth over a year ago. Why would they still be watching? Cook County Sheriffs, I haven't been in Chicago in years. Why are they watching still? Family members that supposedly weren't involved, well, I found them directly on my stuff. Why would they even be on Amazon servers? if they weren't part of it. And they didn't hide it when they did this, you know. I have direct links to CIA. My biological mother told me about the Rosicrucians. She didn't tell me much, but, you know, and they were all over there too. Let me see. And even the second place that I was at in Maine, where they stole half of my, the profits from my house. They took the cash out, and everything was set up there. And you guys remember what happened there. If not, I can reference you to past posts. But the IRS, yeah. And from what I'm seeing, Marina Abramovic is running part of that cult out of New York. Because I had several of the avant-garde New York people, the East Coasters, that are affiliated with all that spirit cooking, are also affiliated with the For You Katrina people out of Europe. You know, the guy that made the artistic serial killer kind of shit of my video. And basically, he gave me a heads up on most of the things. He also was on the servers and within clusters, but not the exact number, like a lot of the people that I had found. So what I had found out too, is a lot of information, is that Bethany of Wapaka, the assisted living home, is for people, Alzheimer's, dementia, things like that. I have had people try to convince me that I had a brain tumor, that I had something wrong with my brain, and this is going back to 2013. I'm thinking that maybe this place claimed that I had dementia or Alzheimer's or something like that, because this also connects to the Obama Brain Initiative. They were also part of the clusters that I also was able to locate too. So I'm wondering if they lied about my status of having brain injuries or dementia or whatever the fuck I don't even think they had to lie with him. You know, I think it's just, let's take our enemies out, fabricate something. Here, they'll compromise. They'll do it. Now go. So, yeah. And then they put the remote neural monitoring in March of 2016. It got infected. I had 102 fever for 5 days. But I couldn't go to the hospital because, like, what do I go to the hospital? So they can fabricate something, claim I'm crazy. The hospitals are fully aware of what satellite body area networks are. And every single MyLab and every single MK Ultra victim, whether they know it or not, has a body area network set up within them. We're too valuable not to track. If you're a targeted individual, it doesn't take much for them to come in and chip you. The electrodes are very tiny. A security contractor could come in and do it. Dr. John Lilly talks about how the remote neural monitoring electrodes can be put in with a cannula and just put in with a tap. And if you're someone who has the RHIC EDOM, they could easily do it because they can knock your consciousness out. So anyone who's basically been used in the programs, we've been upgraded over the years. Our whole lives we've been upgraded with the newest technology. It's a nightmare. So, and how the medical system works, everything is hooked up to the emergency medical system. So if you have a body area network that's being run by satellites, you're already hooked up to the EMS system, which is the police, the ambulance, and the doctors. So there is no way that when a police officer comes over, he doesn't know about the emergency medical system. They're using this system, it can be used for non-criminal ways, for people that have like pacemakers, that have all kinds of things set up in their body, and if they have a medical emergency, it's useful. But it can also be used to track assets. It's used for asset tracking. So that's how they always know where we're at. You don't have to have your cell phone with you. You don't have to have anything with you. These electrodes are so tiny, and they put them in my knee. I have a perfect diamond shape scar of little things that were put in when I was in Huntsville. No bug bites like that. And they caused a lot of pain. I mean, it doesn't take much to do any of this. So anytime that a cop tells you that, you're being attacked by satellites or whatever, and that's not happening, you're crazy. They know all about this. And then I even looked further into the PRISM, the NSA PRISM system of looking, of surveillance for people. And then I got into lawful interception. And basically how everything is set up with law enforcement when they do the wiretaps, it's all set up at a switching station. And it's not very difficult for law enforcement to come in and hack your phones and hack hack and redirect your telephone system and basically everything. So once again, if a law enforcement officer acts like this is some kind of fucking space age technology that's completely impossible, he's full of shit, because if you go in Cisco routers, they have a full explanation about how it's done, and it's standard procedure. So we are being put under bogus investigations. We are being put under body area networks in our bodies. And who the hell knows how long that this has been done? Everything we do is being hooked up on a server. And that's how, no matter what we do, they hack us, because we're under the satellite system. So anytime we have a new phone, or we have a new computer, or any kind of electronic device, they go in and they know exactly what we're doing. There's really no escaping this. We're fucked. Not to be fatalistic. I'm not fatalistic, but because I was able to basically track who did this to me, and cross-reference it with other targeted individuals, especially the niche of women that have been used as breeders and are not even aware of it. They thought they got married. They thought they had kids. And then all of a sudden their life was thrown into chaos. And they were good mothers, and their babies were taken from them. This was set up even before. They tried to do this to me. I just didn't have a baby, and I found out what their fucking plan was. Now I live like this. Have no cell phone. I can't have a cell phone. I can't call anywhere. I can't do anything. I can't communicate. Everything is taken over. But now I know who did it. I know who signed me up for this shit, and I know the motivation behind it. Now it's just to basically keep me hidden away like an asshole. And everyone just ignores what's going on. No one thinks it's unusual that I can't have a phone for 2 years. Nobody finds it unusual that me and my dog are completely radiated to the point that my organs are swollen. And God forbid we talk about the human trafficking that's gone on for the past 2 years, when I wake up with bruises all over my body that you guys have documented and you've seen. All the other stuff. They even went as far, when all this began, Spartacus was less than 2 years old when all this started, and they had gone in and poisoned him and gave him rat poison. And then I had gone and had his platelets checked and got the antidote, which is vitamin K for rat poison. And his platelets were 66, which is very low. His white blood cell count was high. And he had thrown up, like the green stuff, and it can take up to 5 days for rat poison to work. So I wasn't entirely sure if it was rat poison, and then he started having, bloody stools, and his back legs were completely stiff, which is a sign of poisoning. I mean, they were like paralyzed. So the dog had been poisoned. Well, everyone around me is gaslighting me that he wasn't poisoned. Even though I have the paperwork from the vet saying he was fucking poisoned. So then it gets even better. After he was treated for that, I was getting ready to move. And then they went in my PayPal that I had for 13 years and ran my business off of. I had it on a security lock, and I owe them $4,000 for a business loan. They've given me several business loans, and I pay them all off in 2 or 3 months. And then, I had a great standing with them. Then all of a sudden, I can't log into the damn thing. When it's time for me to move, and when I wanted to take it off the security lock so I could retrieve my my financial statements saying that I made $60,000 my first year of business. Because I was such a loser. I did that myself. I built everything myself. All of a sudden, none of my emails worked. None of my passwords worked. Nothing worked. I couldn't get in my own account. I tried to call PayPal, and all of a sudden, I'm getting the Russians. So I couldn't even access anything. They had everything redirected at the switch, which now I'm finding out was the police that did that. So what they're doing is they're putting us under a bogus investigation, but hooking us up to the servers of the criminals and having everything redirected to the criminals so we can never actually call on our own accounts. Which means they can run anything through my PayPal. I don't even know if it's active. I don't know anything because I can't get to a computer to do anything. I can't log in. They've gone in and changed they've changed the email address. And so anyway, with the dog, little crazy dog in the background. So what they had done later, I had gone to get him vaccinations when I was ready to move after I sold my house. So we could get on the airplane because he had to have his shots updated. So I went to PetSmart to Banfield, and it was a well visit. Got their vaccinations done. I had to get him chipped too to go on the airplane, and then so we did that. And the doctor, and the nurse is like, "Well, we're going to take him in back for 2 hours. It's going to take 2 hours to chip him." Now I know that it's just an injection of a little RFID thing. That's it. So everything was going crazy. I didn't understand really what was going on. So I left him for 2 hours. They called me. Now I'm realizing that I don't know what the fuck they did to him. Then a couple days later, I get a call from PetSmart saying that my dog has a disease. This guy has a disease. And I'm like, okay. So I come back in, and they claim that he had immune-mediated thrombocytopenia, possibly caused from the poisoning. Now, the poisoning had occurred about 6 weeks before, and the dog showed no symptoms of being sick when I took him. There was nothing wrong with him. He was perfectly fine. Then all of a sudden they claimed that he had 1 or 2 platelets in his body and was basically a hemophiliac. The dog never bruised. He was never sick. She gave him 3 times a dosage of prednisone, claiming that was needed to take care of it. What they were trying to do was cover up the fact that they were going to continue slow poisoning him. And with the thrombocytopenia, it's basically would mimic a poisoning. It would be easy to cover it up. That disease. Oh, he died of that disease. When they were actually fucking poisoning him the whole time. And then the bruising, if they were, abusing him or something, they could blame it on the thrombocytopenia. He does not have this fucking disease. So I went to a second doctor who was a little bit more merciful but still crooked. She came back and said that he had 2 platelets, but he didn't need to have the prednisone. So thank God, because the prednisone was making him actually sick. So she went on with the story too that he had 2 platelets in his body. So I'm believing this because this doctor seemed a little bit better, and more caring and more professional than the other one. So I'm thinking the whole time that my dog has this disease. And then later on in the future, when I was in Huntsville, handler joked about mercury poisoning me. So I looked up it was a free-for-all. So I look up the side effects of mercury poisoning. And I find out that thrombocytopenia is a side effect of mercury poisoning. A thrombocytopenic effect in the body. And then the light bulb went on. And I realized that their plan was to slow kill this little guy. Because he's my guard dog. And then make it look like he died of natural causes. But I can't get to a vet now. Because everywhere I can go, there's a phone call made. A kickback made to lie to me about it. And they have to keep the fucking lie going now. I'm afraid to even get him neutered. He has to get neutered. And I'm terrified to even have him have a surgery because what if they kill him? They've been trying to kill him. He's been poisoned so many times I can't even count. So the thrombocytopenia would have covered the slow poisoning, the thinning of the blood, because rat poison causes the blood to become completely thin and kills off all the platelets, and then the bruising. When you have thrombocytopenia, you bruise really easy. So that would have been the cover, and that's how far, to the extent that they had gone to pull the wool over my eyes. And thank God I have medical training. I'm trained as a phlebotomist and a medical assistant. And I'm a really good phlebotomist, so I know blood, okay? I paid attention to everything. So that was the plan. This has just gone, and what they were trying to do in Danforth was just give me fucking brain damage, and she's always been brain damaged. Then they had even claimed that I had strep throat, and that caused me to be crazy. I haven't had strep throat in 8 years. Okay, I haven't had anything. I don't get sick. So I can imagine the shit that they've done behind my back. And the caliber of people watching. And I haven't even gone through all the websites. I just did the places that I suspected. And I was right. And I had tips. But yeah, so basically the Rosicrucians, the CIA, the Spirit Cookers, the Archdiocese of Milwaukee, NSA, family members. I caught family members, and the only reason I even looked their shit up is because they acted suspicious. They acted crazy. I'm sorry, when my sister, my cousin, my biological mother, this is what you get for being on YouTube. When everything began a few years ago, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I didn't realize I was supposed to fail. I didn't know that I was being set up to be homeless. I didn't understand this. Now I'm completely asset stripped. I don't have shit. I have $8. And I'm here. No. Can't work. I can't do anything. I literally can't do anything. I have no way to communicate with people. 2 days after I got here, they disabled my FaceTime. And guess who's the only person who can get through is Handler. Yeah. So, messaging, everything is intercepted. It's just... So, what I just sit here until... For what? For what? I'm never going to fucking drink the Kool-Aid. I'm never going to, want to hang out with anybody. There's nothing genuine or sincere as far as, I'm polite, but I'm not falling for the shit. So I just sit here like a fucking frog in a kettle, waiting for the next shit that they pull. I'm frustrated. But basically, my system, I caught all of them. Caught all of them on my tracer routes. So, I don't know. I'm being hit right now, so it's like I'm working very hard to stay coherent and in line, but there's just been too much that's gone on. Entirely too much. It's just stupid. I heard they want to use me as some kind of CIA patsy. You know, like those shooters that go out there and do things. And I mean, they have everything ready. It's all fucking ready. On my Facebook, someone's on my legacy account. I never set a legacy account. The entire page for everything is a spoof page. It's not even a real page. So basically, I mean, they're going to ghost this video. None of you guys are going to see this video. I'm frustrated. I'm just so tired of this. I can't go to the doctor. I can't even take my babies to the vet. And everybody thinks they're so slick. I mean, nobody's getting anything over. I mean, I just caught fucking everybody. All the cops. I haven't even checked all the local sources yet. And the amount of people that participated in this, what to keep me from doing readings? I mean, were my horoscopes so dangerous? Or just the fact that I was self-sufficient? I didn't need anything from anybody. I tell you what, my dating days are over. I don't care if the perfect person came tomorrow. I don't trust anything anymore. Well, you know, knight in shining armor comes. Oh, yeah. Another handler. I'll be happy being alone. I don't care. You know, getting on me about my weight. Lose weight for what? For what? So I could be more easily sold? More marketable on the black market? That's great. Well, I can't even make any money. I can't do anything. Even trying to sell anything turns into a fucking human trafficking scenario where they just send people over not to look at what I'm selling, but to look at me. That happened in my house. I had to sell all my furniture. I had to sell everything in my house so I could pay my lot fees. I've caught everybody. No one's going to admit to anything. I have information in black and white, and basically how this all works is this is the website. This is what it looks like. These are all the connections that I made. This one, for example, is the Kenosha Church of Christ, and you'll see right here their website address is up here, and then we're on the Asia part. And right here, if you hover over this, the email address will come up, or not the email, the IP address will come up. This right here is one of the clusters. So basically what you do is you just look on here and find out what matches on your list. And then you know basically who's watching you. So there's no reason for me to have any kind of affiliation or cluster with a church in Kenosha who basically, has a fucking perpetrator family member that goes to it. I'm frustrated. So, alright guys. Well, I will talk to you later. I'd like to show some people how to do this system, so if anyone wants to talk, I'd be happy to show you. It's hard to explain on a thread, so, but if you want to Skype me, that's fine. I only talk by video chat or even Facebook message me. If you are a perpetrator on my list, I'm going to know who you are. I already know who a few of you are. So don't call and waste my time. Okay? But like legitimate people, if you want to learn how to do this, I'd be happy to show you. It's easy. It's a little bit time consuming, but the results are 100% worth it. So, all right, guys, I'll talk to you later.